Thank you very much. We are our seat. Well, the day is here, the most expected date, November 13th, where we are fixed for the Ekiti State University Alumni Association Annual General Assembly and Special Convention, holding here at Radisson Blue Hotel, Ikeja, Lagos. I want to, on this note, welcome everyone to this gathering of eminent personnel that has passed through the system that we call the now Ekiti State University, that evolved and revolved through the Makawalo University to Ondo State University of Ekiti to University of Ekiti and now Ekiti State University. I think this has been a serious metamorphosis that has brought everybody together, and lo and behold, we are here today to celebrate that school. And I want to tell you, maybe perhaps some people don't notice this. Our product is rare. Anybody that passed through Ekiti State University, that product is rare from the day of the Makawalo University. There's nowhere we don't excel, and there's nothing we lay our hand upon that's not turning to God. I think that spirit is in that way. Please let us clap ourselves today. It's a pleasure to make it. I am proud to have been a product of that school, and today, in my chosen career, I am doing well with what I know how to do best. On behalf of the Board of Trustees Chairman, Mr. Wali Jegede, and the President of the Ekiti Alumni Association, Engineer Dipo Bamishaye, NET member, and members of the Alumni Association, I want to welcome us to this all-important event that is important to us and our alma mater. Before we go on, I want to invite all the tables here are high and the chairs are nicely arranged, but some people still need to come up here so that we will do the needful. But then we do the recognition first. The BOT chairman is here, Mr. Olawale Tegede. Please stand up recognition, sir, wherever you are. Let's put our hands together for him. He's been doing well, coordinating well, and since yesterday, we've been having event moments with the BOT and all the BOT members in the house. Part of the BOT members in the house here, we also have Professor Ayeni. Sir, you're welcome this morning, sir. Then on the BOT list, we also have in the house our own Sir W.O. Adebayo. Sir, you're welcome, sir. We are here together. Then we also have our own Mr. Bola Ogunlaye. And as they come in, I will definitely recognize them. Then let me also on this note recognize the presence of the. Then we also have our own. Oh, sorry, Dr. Jade Sola Papatola. I'm sorry, our own jet. Sorry about that. I almost missed that. Do we have our own Ashiwaju Oludo Traditumbe in the house now? I think it's outside, basically, doing one or two things. Thank you very much. Then I move now to the global executive, ably led by our own engineer, Dipo Bamishayi. The BOT chairman, sir, please come forward. I've said that, sir. We also have the global president. The global president, please. Because I was making recognition and witness the arrival of the Vice Chancellor, University of Lagos, Professor Oluwatoyi Ogundipe. Professor Ogundipe will be giving us breakfast talk after this introduction. I use the global president to at least be a point of contact to the next members. Then let me also recognize our own Vice Chancellor, who is Professor Edward Olanibe, who is ably represented here this morning by Professor Vice Chancellor Academic. Yeah, let's put around together and encourage him, please. Let's put around in our meeting this morning. The Deputy Vice Chancellor, Development, Professor Wani Olajide, you are recognized, sir. He is there with his amiable wife, Mrs. Adetu Olajide, you are recognized. We also have the registrar of the institution here, Mr. Ike Oluwole, sir, you are recognized, sir. Let me also tell you. Let me also tell you that we also have in the house this morning, Director, Advancement, Linkage, and Alumni Relations, Professor James Olauru. The introduction will not end if I fail to recognize the presence of one-time presidential candidate, an economist, a chartered accountant, barrister. You are recognizing. In the house, one-time student senior leader, and who's also doing in what he chose to do, our own Mr. Adebayo. Let me also recognize the presence of a deputy governor chief candidate in Ondo State. Engineer B. Adebayo is here today. As the higher of dignitaries enter the hall, we will continue to recognize and move on with what we are here to do. On this note, I want to invite to the microphone Mr. D.G. to give us the spoken words. Good
morning, ladies and gentlemen. On the backdrop of the convention theme, tragedy of leadership without legacy, regarding the next generation of Nigerian leaders. The old proverb says, "Baba Amobiano, Amobiatimo," which means if we do not know where we're going, we will know where we're coming from. And when you know where you're coming from, it could help you map the trajectory into your future. For this purpose, I'll be doing a poem this morning to take us back memory lane where we started off as Nigeria. And the poem is titled "Where Are You Started?" Can I bury this memory? Can I ever know over the days of innocence? I think they are gone. Every ways of good old days in this land, I just disappeared with the granite pyramids of Kano. The active brains and leaders' fertile fields of brotherhood in Jos also killed compassion in the neighborhood of Lagos. Roads were built to connect cities and hearts of folks who lived apart, I was told. Children who had little to eat would await travelers in Kaduna with open arms and offerings of tuwo masara, which they shared in elation to strangers from Owerri and Warri and hungry on their journey to foreign lands they later called home. Instead of going all together, I told them the darkness of days at hand. My foresight went hazy, so I stumbled on my father's broken heart. Broken by stumbling blocks of unpaid pension and burns inflicted by compatriots who made him kill in the sun to end the peanut called pension. My father's creed, some ladies and gentlemen, I will let them have their seat before I continue. Don't stand again. Welcome, sir.
Thanks very much.
It's good to have you. Ladies and gentlemen, please, I need your attention and some silence. Thank you very much. Can I bury this memory? Can I ever know over the days of innocence? I think they are gone. No good ways of good old things in this land. I guess the September were not pyramids of Kano. The active way that we have better view the brotherhood in Jos also keep compassion in the neighborhood of Lagos. Roads were built to connect cities and heart of folks who lived apart, I was told. Children who had little to eat without way travelers in Kaduna, with open arms and offering of masara, which they shared in a nation to strangers from Owerri and Warri, weary and hungry, on their journey to foreign lands that they had called home. In search of where it all began, I groped in the darkness of days at hand. My foresight went hazy, so I stumbled on my father's broken heart. Broken by stumbling blocks of unpaid pension and bonds inflicted by compatriots who made him queue in the sun to earn the peanuts called pension. My father screamed as the brain grew sharper when the politicians mentioned the state pension as an achievement of their government. So, for my thinking vision, and the inadequate attention of my generation to the state of the nation, not asking the aging generation, the generation from our destination. My father gave me a punishment to write an epistle on how it all began. His opening line threw me off balance. What does not belong to a man, he said, a man must not take, except a woman in marriage. Not that option, then it is corruption. I disagreed with my son. The last day when the program was preaching shackles, even what Mesa Oliva was laid to rest. Rest was his last word. That keep erect within me, that heroes of noble cause who have gone to rest may never rest in peace until this matter is laid to rest. My father fell asleep. Then I took his grave. So one day I can pick my pen to write and repeat on how his generation fell asleep. The watchmen slipped into coma. Then courage gave way to hypocrisy, weakness mistaken for meekness. The warriors are in shackles of comfort, the just guard the wealth. The lions shed their mane, watching chameleons take over the jungle as our conscience inches towards extinction. One day, I will find how it all began. We begin with the epistle with a question: how did we get here? How did we assemble this orchestra afflicted with mystical myopia? However, did we climb this height of impurity, where we overlook the fact that we goaded ourselves into this labyrinth, in which we have lost the path to utopia and found a symmetry of regrets to bury the relics of our days of glory? So I ask, where are the days of glory? Where are those days nothing went to waste? We made tangible things from things of this world, like things of milk recycled to containers for moi, and the big ones we used for storing detergents. Our leftover went to the cage of rabbits beside the vegetable garden kept green by dogs from the poultry farm that assured us air with our daily bread. How did we arrive at this creek of emptiness? When we build our land for fortune, spill oil on the future, borrow the earth for wealth, bury our inspiration. Oil may fuel cars, I know, but inspiration will fuel those who will build cars. As the imitation of one generation by the other will determine the exaltation of a nation, and imitation from generation to generation. And this is not a legend. Inspiration is not a legend. Like those days were real. When empty cartons were remolded into space shuttles and exotic cars that carried our children to the land of their dreams on the shoulders of fathers who washed sweat of labor off their hands rather than blood of kindred. The mothers who needed us stay awake at night, twisting and turning figures on public ledger. Where are those days? Daughters were proud of fathers who were soldiers, and sons aspired to be soldiers. I'm afraid generals now handle cash than guns, and I've seen colonels amass wealth better than living up to their rank on the battlefield. Where are those days our national anthem was a prayer? Each verse crafted a master key that unlocked doors in days of uncertainty. Virtue flowed in our veins, love expressed in purest ways, as buttons of iron could not cage our dignity. Praise be the name of the Lord. Have mercy on your people. Just before the shepherds started to hustle flock with fancy billboards and the scriptures shrank into apps on the same tabs where we watch porn, were the days our offerings went straight from the heart to the hands of the needy, or the offering bowls of sacred altars, then carried further to orphans and widows and accounted for by church elders. But on this new way to salvation, I see end-time ministries where offerings are swiped from debit cards to POS on glamorous altars, wired to holy accounts, and further to escrow for the offspring of the shepherd. What still lavished on private jets and building colleges the congregation cannot afford. Alhamdulillah, as I wanted those days to be back when peace was not haram, but what we made with our neighbors, no matter their religion. Salah was a short path to Al-Jannah. We would never kneel on sajada covered in blood, as our sons would not carry weapons after ablution, taking our daughters into captivity to be married off to sons of the dawn. Heed my word or kill it. We may pray on Arafat, worship on Sinai, fast for 365 days back to back, not until our arms are coated in peace, strike forth in unity, until the eagle takes flight. The oxes regain their dignity, not until our lions refuse to shed their mane, watching chameleons take over the jungle. Then the hope we can rekindle. That days to come may become days when bars of iron will cage our fear, to turn the wheel of progress into a movement led by chariots of patriots who will make a difference in their time and space. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Have a nice
Thank you very much. Those days, when we are in the interesting countries and somebody stands like this to talk, we always say, life will win. Life will win. The life of the doctor and so that move around the program, I didn't job, motivate everybody. I think this man that got 11th grade deserves another round. Two men are not going to believe the two others without dreamland. I visualized what he was saying, and I found myself in that dreamland, and I was carried along in what he taught. Moral wisdom. What was going on with what I would say is enough as a ministration for the day. The chairman, the co-chancellor of the chairman of the State University Governing Council, Professor Bankale Omoye, entered into the auditorium. So you're welcome, sir. And this much, as we move on with the program and business funds, it's time to have the breakfast lecture, which will be delivered by the Vice Chancellor, University of Lagos, Professor Oluwatoyin Ogundipe. So I want to invite you to the microphone, as I also call the person that will lead a citation to move forward. Professor Adewale Bosede.
It's a pleasure to read the citation of our prof, Professor Oluwatoyin Ogundipe, FAS. Oluwatoyin Ogundipe is a professor of botany in the Department of Botany, Faculty of Science, University of Lagos. He was a PhD Botany Ife, an MBA UNILAG. Professor Ogundipe attended training at the University of Johannesburg, USA, South Africa, University of Reading, UK, University of Cambridge, UK, Harvard University, USA, Crowning Institute of Botany, China. His area of research includes, but not limited to, molecular plant taxonomy, systematic forensic botany, phytogenetic, ethnobotany, paleobotany, and ecological conservation. He has over 120 publications and accredited academic journals, and has co-authored 8 books. Research output so far has been chiefly in the area of molecular plant systematic, updating the taxonomic of some plants general and using the anatomical features in the identification of sterile and fragmentary plants specimens. His publication shows that he has been engaged in the recording of the general anatomy of plant species and assembly of anatomical features which may be used along with other features for enhancing taxonomic knowledge of the plant and establishing an identification system for some of these plant species. He has also been involved in exploration and testing of herbal drugs for their medical and antimicrobial properties. Also, some of his publications have shown the use of pollen and spores as sources of honeybees in control of allergies and in determination of climate change and change in land covers over the years. Furthermore, he has been able to show the genetic diversity and relationship between different plant taxa, as well as assess phylogenetic relationship among plant population using molecular techniques. He is currently involved in the molecular studies of aerial plants, actually in Nigeria, aqua plants, allergy studies, etc. His publication has been very relevant in botanical research with 370 citations from 2009 till date. He's a two-time recipient of the Faculty of Science Researcher Award and many other local and international awards. He has effectively supervised 18 PhD and 45 MSc students. For the research of his passion for his profession, Professor Ogundipe successfully transformed 3 empty rooms into fully equipped laboratory. He has attracted research grants from different agencies worth over 187 million naira, $3 million, and 28,000 pounds. 2 of his research works in collaboration with other scholars are currently undergoing the process of patenting. Professor Ogundipe understands the need for multidisciplinary collaboration. Thus, he has been working with other scholars from different disciplines within the university and other institutions, locally and internationally. He is a fellow of the Nigerian Academy of Science, fellow Royal Society of Biology, London, fellow Leadership for Environment and Development, fellow Linnean Society of London, fellow Institute of Security, fellow Institute of Corporate and Business Affairs Management, Nigeria, and National President, Botanic Society of Nigeria. Since joining the University of Lagos in 1990, Professor Ogundipe has held different administrative positions. He was one-time head department of botany, where he introduced sweeping reform at the department. As sub-dean, Faculty of Science, he began the computerization of student results and has also attracted collaboration from multinational corporations. He later became the dean, School of Postgraduate Studies, where he attracted a lot of town-downs relationships and led the computerization of the entire process in the school. He was also the director of academic planning units, and in 2016 was appointed the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic and Research. Professor Ogundipe is currently the Vice Chancellor of the university since taking over on November 12, 2017. There has been a renaissance in demand-driven research in the university, and town-ground relationship is being renewed. Similarly, he's been working assiduously to promote entrepreneurship among students of the university. Professor Ogundipe is happily married to Oluwaseun, and they are blessed with 3 children. I present to you Professor Ogundipe.
I want to return all the glory to the Almighty God. It's not by power, it's not by might, just by the mercy
of the Almighty God. And say good morning to friends and especially the vice chancellor, who I think the last time I saw him was this morning. Let me address the protocol. The pro-chancellor, and the chairman of council, the state university, also happens to be the former vice chancellor of my own university. That is Obafemi Awolowo University. I say it anyway. I got my first degree, my master's, my PhD from IFE. So you can see that the bona fide person. The representative of the vice chancellor, Professor Patrick, who happens to be my younger one in the lab, the person that supervised my PhD, supervised his master's, and we work in the same lab. I'm glad that our lead supervisor, Dr. Olatunji, who happens to be our senior supervisor, will be glad in the spiritual realm now that the people that he mentored are doing well. I also want to appreciate the president of the Alumni Association, Engineer Bamishai, for this unique program. It's a unique program in the sense that you must not despise small beginning. I'm honestly impressed with what I've seen here. That commander made that I was called today. Well, today is Saturday. Everybody likes we want to rest Saturday morning, but I couldn't disappoint him. And with the pro-chancellor, who happens to be my boss, I said, wow, the two people on the two sides, I cannot escape from them. I want to appreciate you, Ige, for inviting me and for that wonderful presentation. I think after that presentation, it has taken care of the topic that you have given to me. But I still need to attend to that topic for the record. And whatever I say here, when we are talking about leadership, I'm saying this because of the country that we are in now and because of our journalists. Before you know it now, you will now twist it and say that the VC of Unidad attacked the president. The VC of Unidad attacked the government. So we are talking about leadership. Leadership is spread from the family to the community, to the government, to the state, and on to the national level. So I'll be doing the topic, tragedy of leadership without legacy, safeguarding the next generation of Nigerian leadership. Coming to broader leadership, if you want the copy of my presentation, I think it can circulate on WhatsApp to members. Leadership is as old as humanity. You all know about leadership. It is everywhere and inescapable. Whenever there is a will, there is always a form of leadership. When considered in the context of mutual relationship between a leader and his followers, it may be described as a continuous process of influencing behavior. A leader must influence behavior of somebody. And I want to say that really I was referring to him that when we were in the same lab, I had a little bit of influence on him. As a leader, you must have influence on the people around you. As a leader, you must want to learn something from you. There's something that I always say, and people will tell me, don't say it again. When PhD students, if I come to my lab by 9 p.m. and they are not in the lab, I count them as not being serious. This year, we'll tell you, our supervisor, Dr. Latuji, he comes to the lab by 10 p.m. and you are not there. You say, I will go serious. That's his belief. You must be in the lab anytime he comes in. So as a leader, you must have influence on your environment. Hence, comes and hold the level. Posted that leadership is the process of influencing people so that they will strive willingly towards the achievement of the great goals. How to understand it? Like I told you, I'll be giving examples so that we understand it better. When I talk to my former PhD students, immediately they get their PhD and call them my Oga. That if we can determine whatever we need to do. But before that time, I need to go through thorough tutelage in such a way that there is something in me that we must imbibe. That's about leadership. There must be something in you that your followers will want to be and they want to be like you. Okay. In 2011, confirmed a similar definition thus. Leadership is the process of social influence that directs the actions and the activities of a group towards their shared goal. So, about right, leadership is better defined as government by persuasion rather than force. Leadership is at the heart of governance, and it is vital to the overall development of the nation, as well as the welfare of the citizens. It has been recognized as the main determinant of failure or success of any group, organization, or institution. Leadership is meant to promote the common good of all. Leaders have ethical and moral responsibilities to pay attention to the mutual needs, common goals that exist between them and the followers, instead of seeking their own interests alone. Going from this, in 2015, Sanjay further espoused the thesis of servant leadership. In this theory, good leaders are those who view themselves first as servants. They view themselves first as servants, putting his own needs after the need of other people. I'll give you another example. As the Vice Chancellor of University of Lagos representing God, when later I came in and said, God is the Vice Chancellor. And because of the confidence and belief the people have in me, when the problem came, they were the one that rose up. So it was not the leader now saying anything, but the followers coming up and saying, no, we know this cannot happen. So as a servant leader, you stay at the back and make sure that you take care of your followers. It needs to be noted also that leadership is a dynamic process. So leadership quality of Zeke Awolowo then. Now, it is only the content that we can talk about. But if we talk about the disposition, it cannot work now. The leadership quality of Abat Macaulay cannot work now. It is only the content. I hope you understand what I mean by the content. The good things that they have done. Because even as a father, the way you are trained, I remember my son telling my wife, his mother, saying, Mommy, eyeball to eyeball. Is it true? Those of us that are seated here, can you tell your mother that? About I'll tell your dad that cannot be true. Can you tell your father that when we were growing up? So you see, that's why I said this leadership disposition then you cannot compare it with what we have now. Because of information traffic and other things that we have to put into context. But the content of what they said then about education and those things, they are still relevant up to now. Unfortunately, the lofty ideals of leadership do not speak of Nigeria's experience of leadership.
As Nigeria has the kind of leadership described above, and those at its with are in environment, natural resources, intellectual blessing, in all its ramifications, should
have been one of the best nations in the world today. But what do we have? There is no state in this country without natural resources. No state without natural resources that they can exploit and make use of. But what do we have now? Some of the states, they have given up and looking up to what is dropping from Abuja. And Professor Atenu Jega, former president of the Academic Staff of Nigeria, ASU, and former vice chancellor of Bayero State University. Also, we all remember that he was the former chairman of INEC, said it. Or I can say summarizes it that leadership is about patronage. I think if you allow me to use my classroom voice. Says leadership is about patronage, it's about leadership, it's about prenatal disposition, it's about what you are able to add, the value you are able to add to the life of the people around you. What you are able, when you add value to the people, the life of people around you, it will be easy for you to lead them. But when they see you as somebody exploiting them, no patriotism, they will look at you and they believe that you just want to exploit them. He observed that the significance of character assignments, traits, and personal attributes of potential recruits has been jettisoned and replaced with arbitraries and self-serving objectives and dispositions, a trend which has hindered the process of national economic development. When I came in as the VC, people came and said, you must not leave the empty handed. That is at our own local government in the university. Now imagine what they will now tell the chairman of local government, what they will tell the governor, that you must not leave the empty handed. So the people that are around them, again, may be part of the problems that they need to think about. It is this tragedy of leadership in Nigeria that compounds our discourse today. However, we do not only want to bewail the situation, we want to charge ourselves to take effective action to stop the tide and rechannel our future. This is our hope in engaging with this discourse in today's lecture. Well, let's look at the conceptual clarification. To limit the level of ambiguity in this lecture discourse, it is important to clarify the concepts that are central to this lecture as indicated in the topic, namely leadership, political leadership, legacy, and tragedy. Leadership, political leadership, legacy, and tragedy. Let's talk about leadership. Although we address the concept of leadership in the introductory remarks that I made, it's critical for us to understand in this discourse that we need to take some examples so that we have a better understanding. Leadership, though a concept, is also used as a noun, referring as a body of people who live and direct the activities of the group toward a shared goal. It denotes the ability to lead, direct, and organize a group In line with this understanding, Norma and Shankar in 2001 described leadership as a potent combination of a strategy and character, and strongly emphasized that of the two elements, character is the most preferred for leadership. Character is the most preferred for leadership. Your character is very important, very key. Remember when I had the saga, some of my colleagues that were with me in different, they said, we know Tony cannot do this. Some of my friends in secondary school, CMS grammar school, they said, Tony cannot do this. If it is stubbornness, Tony is good at that. But this one, so that is character. Your character will speak for you in your absence. So when you talk about leadership, you are talking about character, which is the most preferred, according to John Gardner. And in the process of going through the political space, there is need for the political leaders or our leaders to make sure that people can attest to their characters. People can speak with their characters in their absence. Now I said, your character will speak for you in your absence. Consequently, leadership is a process of social influence by which a person influences others to accomplish an objective and directs the organization in a way that makes it more cohesive and coherent, according to Chama in 2002. A leader, therefore, is expected to demonstrate quality which embrace but not limited to good character, vision. What is the vision that we have? I'm sorry to say this, I'm not a politician. But most of the people we have are negotiated candidates. No vision. You must dream about something. So the glory of God, before coming into the office of the VCC, I had a dream about what need to be done as revealed to me by God. So moving into that office, moving with that vision given to me by God, made the work easy. Most of our leaders don't have vision. So there's need for them to have vision. There's somebody that was mentioned here that was a presidential candidate. I don't know when, but definitely the person would have been pushed by something to want to. That was why he contested. But the person in this country, I'm sorry to say this, because it's not the negotiated candidates. The negotiated candidates are the ones that are winning the election. They have compromised here and there, and when they get there, it become a problem. So it is not about equality. It is not about the vision the person is bringing in. It is not about the leadership quality of that person. It's about negotiation. However, I need to emphasize that leadership is not the same thing as motivating. I said leaders must be able to influence people around their environment. But it's different from motivation. Oh, motivational person will just come here. Hey, we will talk to every one of us, especially to you. You say, hey, you are going to, hey. That's the head. That's the head. The person cannot say, I did it and it worked. You will just come here and read all manner of motivational books and start pushing all manner of things. Being able to motivate people is not enough. Leaders need to be empathic and connect with people to be successful. Talk about Awolowo, you know that they are empathic people, you are connected to their roots. Some of the people that we have, they are not connected to their roots. They are Lagos politicians. You only negotiated them and took them back, or Abuja, took them back to their place. So that's why when they leave office, they get disconnected because they are not connected to the roots. Just being able to motivate people is not enough. Like I said, leaders need to be empathic and connect with the people to be successful. Leaders do not all have to come from the same background or follow the same path. Leaders can and, in fact, should be diverse. So They drive a variety of perspective and strength to bear on the group at any point in time. Look at Olo. You look at the best person. Look for the best person and pick that person. That does not mean the person must come from the Kenneth. When they started University of Ife, they said that Professor Oluwasomi will go to, when he gets to London, and they now said that there's a Nigerian who is very good in this area. You go for that person and bring the person to Ife. That was how they said they started Ife. Or that we know better. Now they started Ife. Not because they are from his geopolitical zone. Professor Oluwasomi, no. That's why when the Professor Oluwasomi had this problem in Ife, his followers, he stood up and defended him. That's leadership. Now let's go to legacy. Let's go to legacy. If you look at the dictionary definition for legacy, it said that it is something transmitted by or received from an ancestor or predecessor or from the past. It is a gift or an asset bequeathed by a progenitor. A legacy always derives from someone's past actions and decisions. Legacy is not just about tangles and things of benefit. Legacy also embodies intangibles such as moral values standard. It needs to be stated that not all legacies are beneficial. As a Yoruba man, there is something that we cherish in the past. Legacy, value. And we have heard of situation of somebody going for an interview. I say, oh, you are this. Are you the son of this teacher that taught me in this place? Say yes. Oh, all right. And that person will be favored immediately. My son he's in Chicago, met somebody, and the person said, after maybe 3 months, 6 months that they have been working together, say, do you know one Ogundipe? Say yes. What about you? Say it's my mother. What about Yashio? It's my grandmother. And he said, the first house I stayed when I got married, the house was built by your mom, by your grandma. And your grandma said I should pay whatever I have to pay. Now met that person's grandchild in US and favor the person. Legacy. That's what Yoruba people, they owned and very expensive in the past. What do we do about legacy now? Now let me talk about tragedy. A tragedy is a calamitous situation or an event cause great suffering, destruction, distress. That's tragedy. Now, let me now go to the third point, or the third subtitle, that is the tragedy of leadership in Nigeria. The topic, the tragedy of leadership in Nigeria, myth or reality. From all the different definitions offered by various scholars, there is a clear understanding of what leadership is. Why is Nigeria's leadership different? Is the issue about lack of vision or personal limiting and precision? Is the problem with the nature and character of the Nigerian state resulting from colonization, non-consensual amalgamation, and years of military autocracy? Oh, you can always say that during the military, they ruined everything. The civilians have been there. What have we done differently? Have Nigerians always known? Well, what I just want, like I said, I want to be very careful so that tomorrow's paper will not see the VC of you like said. It appears that poor leadership has been the bane of governance in Nigeria for long. The political leaders of the First Republic were accused of privatizing public good and making it personal enrichment at the detriment of the populace and it was this that led to the first coup. You remember the first coup in 1966? The same reason were given for the subsequent coups in 1975 about corruption, in 1976 about corruption, in 1983 about corruption. So we see that right from 1966, what they have been talking about is leadership and corruption. Nigeria's situation today is a pointer to the quality of leadership it has experienced. If things are working well in a country, it is because the leaders are doing what is right. Not only do leaders provide the direction in which the followers should go, they also determine the speed at which they move. So everything rests on the leaders. Everything rests on the leaders. One day I told a dean, I said, do you know that if you commit any error, nobody will say that it's the dean that committed the error. They will say the vice chancellor. Not the dean, not the registrar, not the bursar, not the deputy vice chancellor. It's the vice chancellor. So as a leader, you must be able to hold on to that responsibility. So everything will fall on the table of the vice chancellor. So everything rests on the shoulder of the leaders, of the leader. So to think otherwise is to think amiss. And part of the problem that we have is that people who are in the political space as leaders, instead of them to address the situation, they look at the followers in Nigeria. And the followers, they look at the leader. Who is to be blamed? A leader's legacy is a byproduct of the historical decisions he or she makes driven by his or personal values. Every one of us, whether we like it or not, we talk about our legacy. And the key one everyone will refer to is what? Education. Education. He said you should just educate them. Either you call it qualitative education or quantitative, just educate them. And he said this one thing. He said you will ask for their right later. Once you educate them. Being an educated person is better than being an illiterate. For all its resources, Nigeria, which started out as the giant of Africa, has become a struggling element for relevance among its peers across the world. With human resources, greatly endowed with abundant natural resources. I said it, there's no state in this country, go and look at the charts, that does not have natural resources. There's no state. Ekiti, Ogun, Bodo, Bauchi, Yobe, they have. I went to Taraba on so many occasions for my plant collections. If you know the resources they have in Taraba State, you won't believe it. You talk about gold, there are certain things that are limited to that place. But what is going on there? People are exploiting it. And the local chiefs or the elders in that area are encouraging them. Look at the same thing in Zamfara State. The amount of gold they have there. To the best of my knowledge, as far as before Civil War, they have been exploring gold in Indonesia. If there were axis, what has happened to it up to now? Problem of leadership. So, like I said, the resources are there. And also, if you look at what we have now, we have poor health care services, weak institutions, poor infrastructure, lack of social amenities with all aspects of the social system heading towards collapse now in Nigeria. Everything. The only institution in Nigeria that is standing a little bit now is the university education. And if you see what is happening now, within the next 5 years, close our eyes, don't say anything about it, it's going to collapse just like other institutions in Nigeria. What we have now, They are bringing in politicians as chairman of council. And you know the implication of that. They are not like a Professor Mode, Professor Mode. They'll be thinking about how to generate funds, how you do research. No, they are not interested in all those things. Not interested at all. So everything is falling apart. This is a country that built the national stadium. This is a country that built the national art theater. This is a country that built the 12 million bridge. What do we have today? Everything is breaking down. Everything is becoming good things of the past. Infrastructure is nothing. Good road, if you move, maybe you moved to an area about 10 years ago, with good road around that place. Now, the road is gone. The road is gone. Now, let us now understand how Nigeria got to where it is and why it remains there. Two factors we need to look at. The first one is the pastoralistic nature of the state in Nigeria, which has become a magnet for all facets of political and economic life. People that are not supposed to be in politics, they are now our leaders. And you and I will look at them. I remember some years back when they want to have their election. And I said, no, this person must be the person that will become the governor of Lagos State. And one of my friends said, bro, at your election, if they start fighting, will you go out? We just carry paper, be watching the election on TV. We are the one that will go out to vote. That is true. That is true. The people that will put there, they qualify. You know that some of them are more than qualified. But by the time they get to that Abuja, the spirit will come up of them. So the nationalistic theory is a political theory that espousing that each political group has the right to promote its own interests and especially independence without regard to the interest of the larger group. That is, winner takes all. The second one is what we call the prebendalism, which refers to political system where elected officers or elected officials and government workers feel that they have a right to a share of government revenues. You know what that means? A land of the government somewhere, every month when the money comes, they know how to share it. There are some local governments in this part of Nigeria. When the money comes from Abuja, that's the only time you see the chairman of the local government in that local government. After sharing, we go back to Abuja. So it's a matter of the sharing formula. It borrows from the word in the Catholic Church religious vocabulary, which refers to the right of a member of a chapter to this share in the revenues of the cathedral. It appropriately explains the centrality of the intensive and persistent struggle to control and to exploit the officers or the offices of the state as well in Nigeria. And that's why what we have in Nigeria is that the central is more powerful than the state. The central must be more powerful than the state so that they continue to control the state. The state must be powerful than the local government so that they continue to control the local government. The local government must be powerful than the constituency so that the constituency will continue to come and beg them for support. The nature and the character of Nigeria state, even before independence, are tended towards kickback and thank you techniques that have become the norm and therefore a culture of behavior in the country. We all know about it. You must be able to say thank you. I remember telling my secretary, anybody that comes here to come and give any kids, the sickness, the disease of Gehazi will come upon you. So when they come, say, no, please, I don't want any problem. You must be able to let people know that You don't need any kickback and something like that from them. We are there to serve unto God. So, and if you look at it, this led to a special tribunal that was set up in the public for NCNC, for Action Group, because they found out that NCNC, they had a link with ACB, that is the African Continental Bank, in 1962. And according to the Coca Commission of Inquiry, which looked into that affairs of the 6 Western Nigeria public corporations, that there were alleged involvement in corruption in the leadership, and they now link it to the Action Group. They link it to the Action Group. Joseph in 1987 contends that clientelism and clientelism are 2 fundamental principles of political organization and behavior in Nigeria. And you know one thing I love about this country? We like taking good things from outside Nigeria, but we don't know how to implement it. We take it from UK, we take it from US. We want to blend the 2 together. Instead of us to develop our own based on our culture, based on our tradition. By the time we bring in those interests, those factors, it will become something that we cannot actually promote in Nigeria. So even though there is usually a common exploitative economic interest among the elitists, it does not indicate consistent consensus among them. You know, like people always say, and people always say, when they are sharing money, there's no ethnicity, there's no religion, there's no, you don't say somebody is tall, somebody is short. It is about common factor, and the common factor is what? The money. So when you now look at the political space, this one belongs to this political party, belongs to this political party. But in the evening, they share common things together. They are friends. So it is you and I that are the tool that they use to achieve whatever they want to achieve. In 1966, they extended the rationale problem introduced by Macmillan by defining political corruption as a two-way relationship problem which involves multiple actors. It claimed that political corruption should denote the discretionary use of power by public politicians rather than the misuse of the public power, because rights can originate either from payments made to public officials by organizations, and public officials can demand individuals. Why is this situation? Why is this situation this way in Nigeria? Our answer is that the state of the nation is a reflection of its leadership. The state of the nation is a reflection of its leadership. And like I said earlier on, I'm not talking about the president, I'm not talking about the governor, I'm not talking about the senator, I'm not talking about him. What I'm saying is that the issue of leadership starts from here. As the president of the old student of Ekiti State University, in leadership, what do you bring in that will make people to believe and trust in you? That if there's any opportunity, they'll be able to recommend you. In our constituency, in our family, there are people that started their politics right from the constituency. From there, they move to the next level. From there, they move to another level. But some of the leaders that we have, they want to move to the state without having that route. And like I said before, by the time, because we are having most of them being negotiated candidates, it is always difficult for them to lead aright. When the political leadership class of the country espouses corruption, it becomes difficult for it to act positively to the benefit of the state and the citizens. This has been the situation the Nigerian state has found itself since independence. The political leadership class, in its quest to secure or retain power, suppresses opposition. But let me say this about the current president of Nigeria. This is the first time that we have election in any state, and there will not be that federal might. You will no federal might. Like the last election, if they want to use federal might, they will use it. People will just shout, they will make noise, they will go to the United Nations, they will go to everything. But the election will stand. You will go to court, the election will stand. So it's not a matter of this suppressing the decision coming from the states. Indeed, from the fourth generation of political leadership class, through the successive military and civilian generation of political leaders, Nigerian political leadership have grown continually in corruption practices. Over the years, we have seen the development of a vast system of institutionalizing political corruption emanating from the very top and pervading all political structures. Some factors have been identified as the root cause of corruption, especially in developing countries. So I will talk about what must be done to change things. What must be done to change things? In a manner of speaking, the former Archbishop of New York was re-echoing what Machiavelli, in the Prince, when he reminded us that those who profit from an extant order that might be evil will do everything to prevent a new order from coming about. But the great majority who will profit from the new order do not do enough to make it happen, because man is incredulous in his nature and not wanting to try new things until he has witnessed the experience or experienced it. Having witnessed the experience of bad leadership in Nigeria and its devastating effect, we must continue to endeavor to steer out those who stand to gain from a new order of things, to do what they need to do for change to happen. What do we need them to do? Be one, be true to the calling to serve the interest of the people. Be true to the calling to serve the interest of the people. When it was the second time for Governor Fashola in Lagos, he would say, it's not possible. But because of what he has done, people rose up to speak for him. Be a visionary and be actively committed to realizing your vision. Our leaders must have vision, and they must make sure that they are able to actualize their vision. Cultivate humility. Cultivate humility. Our leaders must cultivate humility. It's not that when they become leader, they now start moving with all manner of people, and they will not be able to be approached by their people. Cultivate integrity, honesty. Cultivate a sense of priority and determine to conduct yourself under the rule of law. Say no to nepotism and all other forms of corruption. Other leaders, that's another thing. Our leaders must develop other leaders. Hold on to responsibility. I don't know the leaders that we have now that have developed other leaders. Only few of them. I don't want to mention names. In conclusion, in Nigeria political elites, business merchants, scholars, average Nigerians need to reorientate on leadership by focusing on making Nigeria a better place for the coming generation. I think that we join hands to give Nigeria a new identity of national development based on common interest. My Nigeria, mine today, my tomorrow, the future of a better tomorrow. Let us have a change in thinking that focuses on the common good of all in Nigeria. I thank you all for listening.
That was definitely much more than what a motivational speaker will do. Motivational speakers, that is when a goat will face a lion. Haven't just heard of a motivational speaker, and of course you know the rest. He gets eaten by the lion. But when people like Prof speak, they speak not just to persuade, but to make sure that those words we can take home. One more time, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for and I would like to tell the Vice Chancellor, we know that he will continue to read. We want to give you an opportunity at our university. It's the best university in the world. And we show that one of these days are coming for a course so that we can make you an alumni. So we're linking up with the Honorable Minister, but before then, I'd like to welcome my friend. I haven't seen him in about, I think we saw last when he was commissioner. I saw him in his office with my MD. When I saw him in the office, I took my face away. My MD there was Mrs. Seriki. We had a meeting with him. So I took my face away because the last time we saw was in my office while I was the PR of the Students' Union in 1989. I think 1889. And we talked. So when I saw him, I took my face because now he's a big man and he won't recognize me. I looked and I said, B. And my MD looked at me like, oh, so I have a big boy. Ladies and gentlemen, he has not changed. We call him MOB. Senator. The senator in charge of the constituency where the university itself is at the moment. So one more time, let's give a round to my very good friends and comrades who were both poor at that time. I'm still poor, I don't know whether let's quickly move to Abuja, where we're going to be joined by this distinguished Nigerian. We've had the visit talk about, he actually mentioned it. He said someone like Fashola, at the time when he was supposed to do his second term, some people said no. But everybody in Lagos rose up and said, no, we know what he has done. And they said, if you do not take him, it's at your own risk. And of course, they had no choice. They couldn't compromise. So ladies and gentlemen, we're joined by that poster boy, they call him the poster boy. Who is waiting for us in Abuja at the moment. I hope we can link up with him. He is His Excellency Mr. Babajide Fashola, Senior Advocate of Nigeria and Honorable Minister, Federal Ministry of Works and Housing. You're welcome, sir.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I do hope that you can hear me. Let me start my intervention this morning by first thanking you for inviting me to be your guest speaker at this convention for 2021. And let me quickly follow that up with an apology that I am unable to be with you physically. But nonetheless, I do hope that this year's convention turns out to be very successful, and in addition, turns out to be very rewarding of the efforts that have gone into preparing and arranging it. The history of alumni associations of universities is quite dated, very well reported, and you have become part of a global network of such associations who have contributed to enriching the human civilization worldwide. But the central theme of my intervention this morning is about positivity and being positive. And I think that I would like to deviate a little bit. I listened to part of my good friend, Professor Ogundekwe's speech, and while I agree with his conclusions and his recommendations, some of which I will make myself, I must, with respect, uh, make a few comments. So let me say, first of all, that I agree with him that everybody, including all of you there and myself, are leaders. And in that sense, um, let me say, as the Yorubas say, I bobu burulenu abore. For those of you who are of Yoruba stock, I'm sure that that has meaning. But for those who are not Yoruba speaking, the abore from time immemorial was the chief priest. And I think his role was always to ensure that whatever the problems in the community, he brought a message of hope, how to turn adversity into prosperity. And I think that is a central theme I'd like to address today, and that is why I speak about being positive. As a result, I want us to understand that wherever we are today, whatever challenges that we face, we are not alone. Some people are facing worse challenges. And I point out to people that the country that we batter and bash with words of our mouth is a country that other people are seeking to be citizens of. And I know this because every year in council, we consider applicants from non-Nigerians who want a Nigerian citizenship. And I think we must remember that. So there must be something good. How do we multiply that goodness? I think that is the responsibility of all of us as leaders. Yes, Professor Ogundikwe also touched about being giant of Africa. Giant of Africa is not a given, it's an aspiration, and we must continue to aspire to be. And even when we achieve it, we must work even harder to keep it because it is not a given. Somebody else wants to topple that giant. So there is always competition. And that is the reality of life. This is personal, but I just want to put a context to it. Professor Ogundipe alluded to the condition of our roads and our infrastructure. Yes, that is true. They have aged. The roads that were there many years ago are not there. But we must remember, as very highly educated people, that roads are not permanent assets. They are depreciating assets. They wear, they tear, and they break up. And our work is to continue not only to maintain them, to improve them, but also to build more so that we reduce the stress on the little that we have acquired. That is what the Buhari administration is doing today. As we speak today, we are working on over 13 kilometers of roads and bridges. We're maintaining bridges that nobody maintained for 30, 40 years. So, and the Third Mainland Bridge is one of them. The Old Niger Bridge is one of them. That bridge was built, I think, in 1965. So we're working on all these things at the same time. The truth is that we left some things undone. The last major intervention on Nigerian roads was done during the Presidential Petroleum Trust Fund. Incidentally, when Buhari, now president, was chair. So if you look at that period, that was about 1996. 1996 to now is 25 years. Roads built 25 years ago need attention. And the engineers amongst you will tell you that many roads are even designed to last not more than 25 years. So it is not a given. We must continue to do a lot about them. But let me quickly go back to my central concern, why I said I wanted to speak about being positive. And my concern is that even the theme and the topic you have selected, which is the tragedy of leadership without legacy and safeguarding next generation of Nigerians, my view is that I prefer to see my glass and that of Nigeria as half full and not half empty. I look for triumphs, not tragedies. So let me share with you a triumph and a legacy. And I start from 21st of March, 1982. On that date, there was no state university in the old Ondo state on the 21st of March 1982. And there was even no Ekiti state as a legal entity. Indeed, the idea that an Ekiti state would one day own a university was not then in anybody's contemplation, at least not in the public space, because there was not even an Ekiti state. But all of this changed on the 22nd of March 1982 by the action of Chief Michael Adekunle Ajasin as the governor of the then Ondo State, when he created the Ondo State University. For me, that was not only an act of leadership, it was an act intended to prepare the next generation and make them ready to lead. That action was triumphant, it was not tragic, and it was not a tragedy. It was a positive action. And it would seem that the then Ondo State University, in my view, was a positive legacy, a worthy one that any leader in the public or private sector would be proud of. And I'm sure that if Michael Adekunle Ajasin would see us, he would still be proud of that as a legacy. But that was not the end of triumphs, and it was not the end of legacies. To the credit of the Babangida administration, and in response to the yearnings of the people of Ekiti, who were then part of Ondo State, Ekiti State was birthed as a legal entity in 1996. It is extremely doubtful, in my view, that if we were to hold a referendum today to ask the people of Ekiti now to return back to the old Ondo State, that such a referendum will find majority support, if it finds any support at all. And if there's anybody in that hall who, as an Ekiti indigene, wants to go back to Ondo State, I will ask him to raise his hand, but I doubt that there will be such a person. And the reason why such a referendum will almost certainly fail, if it ever emanates in the first place, is that the people of Ekiti are proud of their states. That is a legacy. And again, I dare say that that is a triumph. It is not a tragedy of leadership. Yes, there are those who at the time did not want the military to remain in government, and I am one of them, but we cannot dismiss something as worthy as Ekiti State because we dislike how it was produced or who produced it. It might interest us to find out how the law that finally abolished slavery in the United States was passed and the efforts of Abraham Lincoln to get parliamentary support for it. I'm sure that those are efforts that are not in the public domain, and they are not efforts that maybe any leader wants to be proud of. But the result was that you and I are free men today because some things were done backstage to get parliamentarians to pass the abolition law. The enduring legacies of freedom for the human race, especially Black people, is a worthy legacy. Some of us may also be aware of the Battle of Normandy. That was the last push of the global coalition in the 1944s to stop the German advance on Europe and possibly an advance on the whole of the world, including us in Africa. Recent declassification of military records now legacies of freedom that the triumph of the coalition forces delivered still live with us today. Because right after that victory, the aftermath of that victory led to the birth of the United Nations and the prescription of a new global order that has regulated all our conduct as a people today. And if you are in doubt, one of the things that the United Nations has done, just the interventions of COVID recently, finds its roots in the creation of the UN in 1948, and the UN would not have been created but for the success of the Battle of Normandy. But away from history and back to Ekiti, the triumphs do not end and the legacies continue. One of them is the Alumni Association, whose guest I am today. Without Ekiti State, without Ekiti State University, from where would an Alumni Association of Ekiti University have sprung up? So to you, my dear brothers and sisters, please do away with negativity. Look for possibilities. Acknowledge little and modest successes, and let us work together to build for a better tomorrow. Those who propel us to think negatively, and there's a lot going on that we must pay attention to. Some of the do-gooders across the world who give us aid are also changing the minds and the psyches of our young people, not to see anything positive about here. But in that process, they are profiting enormously, and we must not join that race of negativity. So I urge us to do good things for a good reason, not because we want to correct a bad thing. So yesterday, I had the opportunity to speak at an event, and the title of the event was for me to address the role of the private sector in building infrastructure to something they were talking about bridging the infrastructure gap and the housing deficit. And I asked them that to the best of my knowledge, everybody in the world is building new infrastructure and building houses, but they are not building it for a deficit and they are not building it for a gap. They are building it because there is an economic and aspirational purpose for building it. So why should Nigeria's investment in infrastructure be framed around bridging a deficit or a gap? And I disagreed with the thesis. So as someone once put it, we should not delegitimize in order to legitimize. And I will tell you the story of a bridge. And that bridge is also in Ekiti, incidentally. When Governor Fayemi sought to run for office uh, for this term that he's serving out, some of us ministers and governors went to Ekiti to support him in a campaign. And it was just a week before then that the former governor, Ayodele Fayose, commissioned that famous bridge in Ekiti. And in the bus, and I hope that I will not be accused of revealing any secret, but in the bus, there was somebody who mooted the idea that, no, this bridge, we were going to condemn it, we were going to say bad things about it. And I said, no, I'm not going to join you to say a bad thing about that bridge. That bridge has been built, it will serve a purpose, and we must rise up to challenge the thinking process behind it. And my view was that, look, I would have argued that perhaps now that the bridge is built, perhaps if we had the same resources, if Governor Fayemi had the same resources, he would have done different things and better things that would have served more people. And in that way, I persuaded a better thinking in my view. And people now said, oh, we won't say that again. But the point I just wish to make by that is that a government in office should build waterworks, for example, for the people, not because it has never been built before, as some of us often say, oh, the previous administration didn't do this. No. The reason why we should build waterworks for people is not because it was not built before or because the previous government failed to do it. The reason why we should build it is because water is life. Water is good for sanitation and for healthcare, and water promotes wellness. And that is away from negativity to a positive thinking, to get people around the idea that water is good and not in order to condemn any previous action. Therefore, uh, as I said, I disagreed with this idea of deficit and all of those things. Yes, there may be deficits, but that's not what should compel us to act. What should compel us to act is an aspiration. So I know that President Buhari is committed to infrastructure because he knows that it will improve the economy of Nigeria. It will bring inclusion. It will bring a more efficient private sector if there is infrastructure. It will bring global competitiveness for Nigeria because our businesses can be more efficient, do many things in a timely and cost-saving manner. And that is a positive way that I subscribe to. In my view, therefore, we must not only acknowledge what has been done by those before us, we as leaders of today must embrace our responsibility to safeguard the next generation of Nigerians. We must then ask ourselves what we can do to improve on the triumph of the legacy of Chief Michael Ajasin in order to prepare the future for our children and our children's children. In this regard, again, I repeat, We must be aspirational. We must be forward-looking. We must also be ready to take responsibility for what happens in one generation, because all of these conversations can be changed if we aspire, and it can happen in one generation. If we keep looking backwards, we will be looking for who to blame, and there has been enough blame. The energy spent looking for scapegoats, and scapegoats in parentheses, and there are none, in my view. But that energy can be spent visioning, planning, and thinking about tomorrow. So let us look at today and what we have done in order possibly to project what we will need to do and to prepare how to do them. In this regard, I can only offer a few suggestions, as I do not profess to have all the answers or all the ideas. But a good starting point, in my view, is for us to accept that our world is changing. It will continue to change. Therefore, we must prepare to adapt in order to safeguard the next generation. At the onset of the Industrial Revolution, the subsequent discovery of crude oil and its amenability to being refined was the holy grail of that period. It birthed a new economy of high-powered petrol and diesel-driven engines and machines that ended up in creating a global prosperity. We all sit on that prosperity today. But that is going away now. In Glasgow, they are still trying to work out the final details of an agreement for COP26 as the world commits to a net zero carbon world from around 2050 and beyond. 2050 will be just about 30 years away. That is one generation away or thereabouts. So we must prepare. We must prepare by getting ready to acquire skills that will be useful to thrive in a net zero carbon environment and build our prosperity away from the carbon environment. Another area is financial services. So let me ask you, when last did you write a check? Anybody in the audience, when last did you write a check? But a check used to be the ultimate symbol of financial inclusion, perhaps one generation ago. Or if you had a savings account, a passbook. I remember I used to have a passbook in, what was this bank now, as a youth corper. It was my symbol of inclusion. I had a bank account. But you know what? The checks and the passbooks have gone. In the process, many jobs have been lost with the disappearance of checkbooks, and many jobs have also been replaced. But with or without the check, we still undertake financial transactions using different skills, bitcoins, cryptocurrencies, and of course, our e-naira and the new faces of financial transactions. To quote a popular saying in an adapted form, what will we think of next and how ready are we? Of course, I cannot dismiss my own personal passion, which is sports. In about 2 generations, a pastime has become a profession that supports lives and livelihoods across the world among young people in the main, who are now professional sportsmen and women. A massive economy has been built around it, including innovation, research, development, for equipment, for medicine, for nutrition, and even for officiating. The video assistant referee is new, but is a product of innovation, and it has come to stay. The sports that our parents used to tell us was for, quote, never do wells, is not now only a major income earner globally, it is a source of projecting global sovereign strength. And you will see what happens at Olympics, Commonwealth Games. The more powerful nations of the world are likely to win more medals. Our plan for the next generation, therefore, must include preparing our children to proudly deploy their skills in a professional way in the sporting arena. And I lay this charge at the door of this alumni association to work with that university to begin to focus on developing these skills to certification and proficiency levels, not just to participate, but how can we have football pitches that are green all year round? It is a process of research and it employs people. How can we have new stadia built that is not just for playing sports, but also adaptable for other businesses because the architecture of sports has changed. And so we must change the curriculum in teaching architecture in our universities. And while sports has struggled in Nigeria, the other sides of talent-based vocations such as music, dance, theater, fashion are prospering in varying degrees across the world. Nigerian fashion is now gaining a lot of foothold. So is our music, so is our theater, and so are our movies. And we can deepen this more. We must prepare the next generation to multiply these gains and consolidate on the success of today. Um, there are many things that we need to do, and this occasion and the time permitted do not lend themselves to an excessive consideration of those things. But one thing that this occasion lends itself to, and which time permits us to do, is that this convention can, and I recommend that it must, be used to liberate our minds. I'm going to repeat that. This convention can be used as an occasion to liberate our minds. Our minds have been, in my view, befuddled by a perception that we are at the wrong of the world. We are not at the wrong of the world. And we must think positively. Those who think that they will not succeed never do. Those who wish and believe that they can succeed do. And I think that is a mindset that I will urge us. We must, at this convention, resolve to unshackle our minds from negativity and embrace positive and aspirational thoughts. After all, we can only do things that we can think of. And if we are thinking in the negative, we just hamper and limit ourselves. Therefore, our greatest bequest, which we can give to the next generation, is a gift of a belief of possibilities. That for me will be the greatest bequest. We believe in the possibility of Nigeria and Nigerians. If we do not believe, then how can we pass that on? I do. I believe in the endless possibilities of Nigeria. But the question I ask is, what about you? Do you believe? I acknowledge the triumphs and legacies of many who came before me. Even if I criticize some of their choices, I do not disown the foundations they contributed to where I stand today. I am resolved to improve on what I inherited and pass it on to those who will come after me. The question again I ask, what about you? Are you prepared to improve on what you inherited? Or are you going to continue to moan about how bad it was? Or are you resolved to improve on it and run with it? So, ladies and gentlemen, these are my thoughts, these are my suggestions, these are my interventions as you hold this convention. Once again, I thank you for inviting me, and I thank you for listening.
Found in shambles and in misery. We can actually say he did well, tested and trusted. Another round of applause. Let's thank you, Governor of Lagos State and current Minister of Works. And we would like to do a citation of His Excellency. We are sure he's watching. And to do that will be my friend, Patriot, past president of the Alumni and current registrar, Samuel Ajayi Crowther University of York, Dr. Dade Ikayo. We have the chairman of the Government Council, who will then thank the Honorable Minister and every other person. Round of applause for the Government.
The DOT Chairman and National President, distinguished members, they are present. Central person stated that history is a selective system of cognitive orientation to reality. Education is that for us as historians and scholars, when we're presenting men who have accomplished so much in life, we should be able to speak about their achievement and to the extent that it has impacted on life, for others to have it as a lesson. On this note, may I present to you a great man, a man of integrity and honor, who today is being conferred the honors of our great university, Ekiti State University at Ekiti. Babatunde Raji Fashola, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, of Yoruba descent, from Lagos, Nigeria, born 28 June 1963, a lawyer by profession who has served the nation in various capacities, is due to be honored on this occasion for all the services he has rendered to the nation. Fashola attended Beach Freeman High School, Lagos, and Igbobi College, Lagos. He attended the University of Benin, where he graduated with Bachelor of Laws, LLB honors in 1987. This great man called to Nigerian bar as a solicitor and advocate of the Supreme Court in 1988, after completing his law school program, had his legal career over a period of about 20 years. He worked with a firm of Sofune, Osakwe, Ugudike, and Bagno, and he cut his legal teeth as a litigator over such wide-ranging areas of specialization in intellectual property, registration of trademarks, commercial law, covering general contracts, company activities, mergers and acquisitions, right issues, ownership of shares and equity of corporations, land dispute, criminal law, chieftaincy matters, to acquire appreciable expertise and vast experience, and qualified in force as a notary public of the Supreme Court of Nigeria, and to receive other great honors and certificates of merit and recognition, both as a distinguished alumnus of University of Benin, being recognized as a recipient of Lagos State Public Service Club Platinum Award, and also as a patron of several law associations in Nigeria, the second law graduate from the University of Benin, and the first member of the Nigerian Law School of the 1988 set to be conferred with the professional rank of Senior Advocate of Nigeria. The first ever Chief of Staff to be honored. He's a member of Nigerian Bar Association and International Bar Association, an associate of Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria. With all the numerous political appointments, having served in Lagos State in various capacities as Secretary to Land Subcommittee of Transition Work Group, member of the Panel of Inquiry into allocation of houses on the Mobilize Johnson Housing Scheme, member of the State Tenants Board, Lagos State Executive Council, member of the State Security Council, member of the State Treasury Board, chairman of the Ad hoc Committee on the Review of Asset Distribution for Local Government, Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Minister of Works and Housing as he is today. He left a good legacy in leading Lagos. He was a governor of Lagos that focused on educational reforms, rehabilitation of state public schools and long overdue and neglected schools. He also committed himself to a coal mega city project. He was very committed accelerating turning Lagos State and Lagos to a modern city, cosmopolitan center in Nigeria. He embarked on various projects to open up the road in the rails from Badagry Express to Benin Republic. He made so effort to recover lands at Victoria Island, particularly where erosion and garbage took place. He did so many things to impact on the world in which we live. He was committed to water safety in Lagos, and he achieved so much even in increasing tax for the purpose of effecting projects of great value to his people. And it's time we began to hear a code imagine. This great man married to a female wife, with two beautiful and glorious children, has served the nation in various capacities, and we see the impact today with modernization of our road, expansion of Lagos-Ibadan Expressway into Boulevard of 3 lanes, and so many other things. Our non-national fund is imperative on this occasion, even though you don't like to be eulogized, but to say the way it is, you are a great man. I will stand and continue to do that. What you need to do to associate yourself with men of value, men of greatness like you. And on this note, may I invite the Chairman Board of Trustees, and the Chairman of the Board of Trustees, the National President, to accompany our father and leader, the Chairman of Council, Pro-Chancellor of Albridge University, to confer on you the honor that befits you. On this great man, this honor of the day. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. A round of applause to the registrar. Dr. J.E.T. Babatla. Let's round of applause to the Chairman Council. Thank you very much.
Just for a second or two, I will make some caveats. And I hope the Honorable Minister, good morning, sir. I hope you're hearing us loud and clear over there.
Good morning, sir.
You're welcome, sir. In January 2015, I was still the Vice Chancellor of Obafemi Awolowo University. We had a great pleasure to invite the then governor of Lagos State, who is today the Honorable Minister of Works and Housing in the person of Mr. Raji Babatunde Fashola, who has just spoken this morning. We had a program that was championed at that time by the Faculty of Education. And our speaker this morning, Mr. Babatunde Raji Fashola, was invited to speak, if I remember, on the title, The Right of the Girl Child to Free Education. It held at Oduduwa Hall. I was struck by the lucidity of the ideas and the fecundity. So this morning, I was totally again mesmerized that you have espoused this topic extensively. Once again, on behalf of the National Alumni Association of the Ekiti State University and the university, we want to thank you so very much, not only for honoring us, but again for coming to make this interlocution this morning. I've been directed
You know, when alumni, when they direct, especially when they go there under convention, everything together. They'll be the vice chancellor, they'll be the registrar, they'll be the bossa, they'll be the chancellor. So that's why they have the power to direct. The chairman sat on my side, he kept writing me, do this. So, sir, what I'm going to do now is what the line, what trustee chairman and the president has directed me to do. He requested to inform you publicly that by the power conferred on the Alumni Association, you have been conferred with the title of life patron of the Ekiti State. That they have been directed to inform you that they will come, representatives will come to Abuja after they agreed on the date with you to confer this title on you as appropriate. If you can see us virtual, this is black. Very. Okay, can someone let me just?
Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, sir. So I want to thank you so very much, sir. So at the appropriate time, the president, the Alumni Association, and the chairman, board of trustees, will arrange to come to Abuja and what they needful. You may want to make a response to this honor that has been done you this morning.
Once again, thank you very much. I was totally blindsided by this, but nonetheless humbled and appreciative of your gesture. I accept the preferment, and I will do my best also to discharge the responsibilities that certainly will come with it. Thank you again. I'm very grateful.
We have stopped, and it's my turn to give some remarks as the chancellor and chairman of the council of Ekiti State University. At this August gathering. But before that, I would like first and foremost again to thank my very good brother, my friend, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Lagos, for that very distinguished, very well researched lecture that you just delivered. When he was speaking, I kept telling him that he was speaking like a political scientist. He was mentioning words like prebendalism. He was talking about legacy and making all sorts of things we read in Pole Science 203. So I was totally mesmerized. So I want to thank you, sir, for opening our vista
as it were, to the possibilities that this nation can give. It will be remiss on my part if I do not recognize this morning our very distinguished senator, who over the years has been the same. That's what I was telling you, as eloquently, intelligently, Ekiti State on the floor of Senate. Every time that Senator Okoye stands in Senate, on the floor of Senate to speak, it's always a marvel to behold. I want to thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I'd like to express my gratitude to the Board of the Alumni Association for the invitation they've extended to me. Then in particular, I would like to thank the Chairman Board of Trustees for this invitation. And again, the current chairman and the alumni in the person of Engineer Timbo Badishaye, FNSC, FNCE. I want to thank you so very much for this invitation. Let me quickly mention, I still want to do things about the power of alumni and where we are in the university. But as a result of the incessant bombardment, as it were, of the president, Engineer that excuse me, you have to come to this meeting. I was to travel some 3 days back to England. I put the ticket, did everything, but I told the governor that I will not go again. I said I want to come because, not only because I'm the pro-chancellor, but I have to come because of this alumni president who has been within a short time that has been the president, is been a great and in the very few months he's taking over, he's been a great interlocutor, a very cosmopolitan networker. I found Engineer Timbo Badishaye a very good consultative leader, very reflective, a very temperate and serious-minded leader. The choice as the alumni president, I'm sure will definitely move our university forward. Right in great institutions all over the world, the role of the Alumni Association as a catalyst and engine for the development of the alma mater cannot be understated. At this junction, before we go on, to tender the sincere apologies of the executive governor of Ekiti State, who is also the visitor to the university, to tender his unreserved apologies for his inability. He was preparing to come that much I was aware of. Then just before I got him, he sent me a message. He said, "Sir, please kindly represent me and tender my apologies." So on behalf of the governor of the state, who is also the president of the university, he has asked me to express his gratitude and appreciation to the alumni body of EXU for the great work that they've been doing over the years. More in particular, he has sent me to express on his behalf his readiness at all times to help in ensuring the furtherance of the vision of the Alumni Association. Is an alumni association important in institutions? Why is an alumni association, or rather, why are alumni associations important in institutions? First, they help in utilizing resources and funds for the alma mater, especially in the context of diminishing funding from government, that all the time there's a crying need, compelling need for competing issues of state, especially for the population in areas of health, provision of roads, provision of bridges, and infrastructure. It is important then for alumni to come together as it were to help as fundraisers in helping their universities. Now, let me give a quick examples of some of the things alumni could do, or rather that they are doing in other countries, in other nations. In the physical year, and I want us to hear this very well. These are not my words. I researched this. So it's copyright. In the fiscal year 2020, the endowment of alumni and donors to Harvard University was $42 billion. For Yale University in Connecticut, it was $31 billion. For Stanford in California, it was $28 billion. For MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, it was $18 billion. And for Columbia University in New York, it was $11 billion. Why am I quoting these figures? It may interest you to know that the endowment of Harvard University alone, which is $42 billion, for the fiscal year 2020, was more than the combined budgets of Oyo State, Ekiti State, and Ondo State, which stands at 524 billion naira, or $1.2 billion. A single university in 2020 was able, as it were, to garner, to harness, to put together $42 billion as a result of the efforts of the alumni. Whereas 3 big states, Ondo State, Oyo State, Ekiti State, could only between them and fighting federal government, even before they could get $1.2 billion. Consequently, what this demonstrates, what it shows, is the fact that the alumni, as you are seated, as you are gathered, you are the engine room and the catalyst for development in the university. Secondly, Alumni Association provides and creates opportunities for university advancement. I like the Director of Advancement, Professor Olawumi, is amongst us here. It's one man that the alumni should synergize with. It's one office that the alumni should. Professor Olawumi, the also. Okay, it's a line. It's one office that is so critical, vital in the development of the university. And let me make this clear. There is a limit to which any government can go in helping universities. There must be the paradigm is changing. When I was the Vice Chancellor of Obafemi Awolowo University 2011 to 2016, one of the Professor Ogunigbe probably stepped down. We were always talking and we still talk to today. I was more or less like a chief marketing officer. And I remember we were to host Inuga Unilag is hosting Uganda. We had to go out to fundraise. I was everywhere in Nigeria, but I cannot forget this current governor of Central Bank. He was still the mighty director of Zenith Bank. And I was doing my laptop going over Kingston. And I discovered that there were many companies in Lagos that had in their budget big chunk of money, millions of naira, as their corporate social responsibility, that they were just waiting for schools and institutions to annex, to package. We wrote a proposal. Federal government disregarded us. We wanted to build an international Olympic swimming pool, pattern track. We needed money. We did our proposal. I kept coming to Lagos, sleeping. Within a period, I was on Mr. Emefiele's neck for about 4 5 months with my alumni and advancement officers, the register, who are always in Lagos. We gave him a bill of about 680 million. We knew it will come down. But the single ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, we were able to collect to get from Zenith Bank 280 million naira. Wow. A single bill. It was a synergy between the alumni. Who do you know? Engineer Dipo Banishayi. Do you know the man that was in charge of the oil block in Bonny Camp? The one in Escravos? Engineer Banishayi, I said, no, I don't know. But I know someone who knows someone. That is the synergy in alumni. And at the end of the day, you will discover that a famished land, a barren land, is now made, as it were, the signature of all eyes. That's my vision for X. And I know we're going to get there. In a single day, the former governor of New York, Michael Bloomberg, gave 1.8 billion to his alma mater, John Hopkins University. In a single day. And why did he do that? He said, I'm going to give this 1.8 billion because I want John Hopkins University to be needs blind. Be blind to any need. Don't look for any help anywhere. And that man gave 1.8 billion. And I know there are so many billionaires among us seated this morning. Every one of us, we put on our Nike shoes and trainers. You know that the co-founder, Philip Knight, in a single day, donated $400 million to his alma mater, Stanford University. Let me say this, you might not be able to donate all those big, but the little 10,000 you donate today, the little 20,000 you do, the little 200,000 you do today is just like they say a drops of water that will make the mighty ocean. And that is the thing about the alumni. The power is so immense that oftentimes in this climb, we don't appreciate it. Why is the Alumni Association important again? And that's number 3. And I want you to mark it. Because alumni associations, as we gather together, they provide a platform and a springboard for life for alumni. They tend to develop deep and strong connections to alma mater, to their alma mater. Consequently, they are committed to his present and his future successes. Someone tells me that there is a spirit in the lives of ex-students of great universities. I'm sitting here this morning. Every one of you, you could have gone somewhere else, but it's that spirit in you that brought you here. Number 5, Alumni associations enhance brand recognition of institutions. The face cap you put on, the vest you put on, the pendant you put on your neck, the ring. These are ways of promoting your brand. And even your children at the end of the day, they say, Dad, Mom, I want to attend that university that you are going to. Alumni associations are big platforms for professional outreaches and networking to the benefits of their members. When alumni associations are well organized and well run, they are just like ladders. They are just like steps that helps one another, a disadvantaged member to climb that ladder so that he or she might be someone that is reckoned with in the society. From the above, it can be seen that a well-run alumni association is not only pivotal, but critical to the development of institutions. I would say this. I think for me, as a pro-chancellor of the university, representing council, it's an opportunity for us, representing council, to talk about our current challenges and the little we've been able to achieve since we came on board in January 2019. Extraordinary country, in the context of his mandate, achievements and challenges in the last 3 years. But our responsibility is to formulate policies for the university. And this we have been doing with every vigor, sincerity, and objectivity in line with the extant laws of the university. Between that time, January 2019 and now, a few of the things that might interest the Alumni Association to know that we've been able to do with the management under the able leadership of Professor Ekiti, who is ably represented here today by the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic, Professor Tekela. In conjunction with that dynamic team, the Deputy Vice Chancellor Development is here, Professor Lakide, and the Registrar. You can see that in the coterie or a corpus of people that are visionaries that are running that school. Between us, the management and the council, we've been able to do 3-4 things that probably oftentimes lead to convulsions in universities. So we've been able to appoint a substantive vice chancellor in the person of the current vice chancellor, Professor Jola. Many oftentimes you have read it in the newspapers. Appointment of vice chancellors are always problematic. Oftentimes, recently the governor of Lagos State invited me. You read it in the newspapers. Invited me as the chairman of the education panel to allow to resolve the issue of the appointment of the vice chancellor. We met for about 2 months, and our recommendations were accepted. It is that recommendation that led to the appointment of this current vice chancellor, Professor Ibeyemi Olatunji, your friend, not your commissioner in Lagos State at that time. We were able to appoint, in conjunction with the management, the university librarian, and the university registrar and secretary to council. These are major issues that oftentimes can cause very cataclysmic problems in universities. Again, able to get accreditation for the MBBS degree program. It was after 10 years. It was under this administration, and were able to graduate the first and second set of the MBBS students. Recently, the EXU International College in Ekiti was established. This after 40 years of the existence of the university. And our programs, this is another thing Alumni Association must know. We've been able to get full accreditation for 95% of our programs in the university. EXU was declared the third best state university and 16th best Nigerian university on the Republic. You see that the story about EXU is not all those things you read oftentimes on the social media. Yes, there are challenges. Yes, there are lacunas. Yes, there are gaps. Yes, there are features. But at the end of the day, there are progress. And for alumni, I think that is one thing we should focus on. Under this administration, we've been able to construct the Faculty of Clinical Sciences complex, a twin lecture theater for the Faculty of Social Sciences, construction of the extension of the academic building. We've been able as Situa again to do the construction of the basic science laboratories for the Faculty of Science. Establishment, and this may interest you very much, of the molecular diagnostic laboratory in the College of Medicine. In the last 40 years, this is the first time we are doing that. Apart from all of this, we were able to do some, we were able to provide some of the cables with generating cells, 500 kVA, some 100 kV, for the good functioning of these institutions. So the innovations are going on as I'm talking, as I'm speaking. So distinguished engagement, distinguished alumni, EXU is not the negative stories you read about it. And that's the thing about the media. As a lecturer, if you come to the class every day with your bow tie, with your cravat, well positioned, you need to make any news. You come in your Yoruba dress and your cap. But the day you come to the class in your singlet and your underwear, it's going to be the front page of newspapers. That's exactly that's the media for you. So please, there is always the story behind the story. However, having said all of this, we have some challenges I think the Alumni Association should know about and that we are trying to resolve. At our inception to January 2019, we met on ground and overbloated workforce, which had seriously hemorrhaged and depleted the finances of the university. Therefore, set up an audit firm, contracted an audit firm from Lagos. And we implemented their recommendations. As I'm speaking to you, some rectifications are being done. It was discovered that maybe some people have genuine cases. The management, they are looking into that. So that those that have genuine cases will be asked to stay, and those whose cases over aged people will stay. Have been requested to go. A major problem again that oftentimes have led to incessant strikes is the inability of the university to meet the financial obligations of the workers. I believe that it is the right of workers to demand for their rights, for their emolument. But in order to resolve this, in conjunction with the alumni president, Engineer Tipo Banishaye, I led the delegation on 5th of November 2021 to the visit of the University and Governor of the State, Dr. Kayode Fayemi, and we, all these demands were tabled before me. And allowances, 5-month salaries, and there, everything well documented. And he promised, the alumni president was there, that before the end of his tenure, he will ensure that these financial obligations are met. I think it's important for the Alumni Association to know this. So I signed up. The next thing I want to mention that has been a major challenge in the university is the incessant and umbrella strikes by workers. I want to beseech, as it were, and plead with the alumni that you must interlocute with the workers. They have a right to go on strike. All over the world is the right of workers to go on strike, to ask for their demands, except in totalitarian states. It is their right to agitate. However, in this, especially in the citadel of Levy that is expected to be the pristine example of restraint and moderation, a reasonable balance must always be struck on actions that will not only be market or the brand the university, that you put it in public living. We have to strike that balance. Yes, we have a challenge, but the challenges can be supported with time. And you can surmount these challenges in an atmosphere of peace. Once again, at this junction, I want to express my thanks and appreciation to the, on behalf of the university, the Vice Chancellor, Professor Deolani, who is ably represented here today by the very powerful delegation from the university, to thank the Alumni Association for inviting us to be part of this August gathering. It would have been something else if I were not sitting in the hall to hear Professor Tony Ogudipe. If I didn't hear him speak, I could have just been given his paper. Hearing him has brought hope again. That as leaders as you are in your different places, XU is your Jerusalem. At this junction, I want to thank you so very much for the support that you have given to the University Government Council. And I want to make a pledge that as we continue as management of the university, as we continue as the Governing Council of the university, you can count on our support every day, every week, every year. Thank you so very much.
Chancellor of the university. A lot of applause for him one more time. Thank you very much. Very seated. Okay. You know, in all of these, I kept looking at everyone on this side of the divide. Sometimes when we talk about alumni, most of the time we're all talking generically. But you are the alumni, you are here. On May 15, 1945, during the war, Winston Churchill was called to address the British people. And he said, I do not promise you any good thing. I do not promise you cucumber or whatever. He said, I promise you blood, toil, and sweat. He said, but at the end of it all, Britain will say, this is our finest hour. Ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are going, these are captains of industries, these are doctors, lawyers, professionals in different fields, academics. We have lots of us who are registrars of different universities, oil barons, presidential aspirants, former commissioners, baristas at law, solicitors at advocates of the Supreme Court of Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, please stand and appreciate yourself. Every one of us in the church and number of the people. This is the morning hour. And you are still standing on your feet. So if you are at times your parents who made you go to that school at that time. And whenever you are anywhere in the world, stand and clap for yourself. You are still standing. Now we need to stay. Because I would have liked to, I know almost everybody by name. One of my young friends talked, and I looked at it and I said, hey, wait, we must not forget the young men. And they always say, one of the people, all the chapter chairmen, please stand and remain standing. Can we give them a round of applause? These are our leaders, our different states of information, and these are the people that are responsible for the next level of our national information. So thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for your sacrifices. Thank you for your time. Let's give them a round of applause one more time. Thank you. I know some people did not sleep. Some have not slept for a long time. Before I call you, because the next person I'm going to call will be Bola Adeoluwa, who will do a citation of the distinguished senator. There are two people I'm going to recognize before we call on Mr. Adeoluwa. One of them is the wife of one of the most prolific alumni ever. He was a former student union leader at different times. We are the wife of one of us who has been very, very important, and he's done a lot for this university. His wife is here with our entourage. I would like them to please stand. If we just take a little stroll to the front, let's give them a round of applause. The wife of KK Kuku. Please, let's recognize and appreciate this fantastic woman. God bless you, man. Thank you very much. And another person I'd like to recognize before I've been told that we're not going to do the citation because the Vice Chancellor will be leaving very soon, but we will still want to do, the award for the distinguished senator. But sir, please permit me to recognize this individual who was a member of the INEC when the election was done, and while coming from that assignment, he had an accident and the alumni spent over 6 billion. And this is the first time after that she's coming out to an alumni event. Ladies and gentlemen, my good friend, please stand up. We are thanking that we're not doing the 1 minute silence to her. Shall we please come. For whatever reason, your name just flew through my head. Okay. So, she was immobilized for months. She was between life and death. And at this occasion, we'd like to thank this president. The first assignment he did was to make sure she didn't die. The president, the foreign president, we support our Swahili doctor, our president emeritus. They did all they could. He was physically in Lagos. We went to the hospital to see her. She is alive. Israel Obiri, the outgoing chairman of the EPG, and Bola Adeoluwa, all of you who are here, I know all of you. those 6 point something million was not, in fact, there's a guy, Falaki, is watching us from Abuja. And the guy was struggling, looking for how do we donate 10,000 to make 1 million. The guy said, no, don't worry, I'll give you 1 million. Just to save her life. And she said to thank everybody, can you please try one? And thank you very much. Thank you, every one of you. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you. God bless your heart. So at this point, I would like to just take the next thing. And he has said we shouldn't bother about say everybody knows that movie. We all know that movie. Like I said, hello, in 1989, he had identified with this institution before he was anybody. Then I think he was president of the University of Benin, and we will sit together and we'll be planning how Nigeria will get better. Little did I know I was sitting beside a future senator. Ladies and gentlemen, very intelligent, very mobile, very articulate, a lot of work.
Well, I'm glad you're not a great salvation. The way of grace, you don't mind. Our professor, our vice chancellor, sitting as emeritus. Very distinguished Nigerians seated on the high table and on the other hand. But let me say that it's really my pleasure to be a part of what is going on here today. Ondo State University, or SUA. Today, Ekiti State University also remains an institution that has been marked into way from creation. I recall with a high sense of nostalgia how I shuttled between the campus of the University of Ife, where I was a student, and Ekiti, going from Sinigoluwa hostel. It was indeed at the time. We all had hope, and glad the hope was not dashed. Know that the embodiment of that hope, by the grace of God, by the witness, that hope. Today, when we talk of Ekiti State University, we are talking of our own Harvard of tomorrow. Our past was only a story told. It said our future can yet be written in gold. It wouldn't matter what did not go right. What is most important is that we must all remain focused. Topic that you chose as the one diagnosed. Professor Ogundipe, God bless you, sir. Spoke so well, and I wasn't surprised. We find the concepts, everything in perspective, and you also projected into the future. Because one of the ministers, Babatunde Fashola is here, who at one time was my own colleague in cabinet under the leadership of Ashwadi Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and who 4 years down the line also became my boss as a governor when he insisted I must continue with him as a commissioner. Also did very well, analyzing this topic. Then, of course, so I don't know what else. After the 3 of them did the analysis, I don't know what else any other person will be saying in respect to this topic. So I just want to say that yet again, not so far as I interpreted the word, what is that to change it. So for me, also as far as we said it regarding this topic, it is to say that one, those 3 sports speakers did excellently well. We find leadership
and put it in perspective. And for me, two things are critical. Leadership is a word or concept, and legacy. And cannot be a legacy without leadership. And we cannot have a good leadership without a legacy being created. It will go together. Then it brings us to the challenge of trying to safeguard the next generation of leaders. When we call leaders of tomorrow, and I guess that's important. The younger generation began to see themselves as the leaders of today. And that began to make a lot of difference. And if we're talking about separating the next generation of leaders, I think it's something that we need to understand within the context of legal perspective, socio-economic perspective, and ideological perspective. When the National Assembly enacted the Not Too Young to Rule bill and was signed into law by Mr. President, it was not like any other law. But it was meant to be a law that would bring a turn around in our politics. Whether the older generation like it or not, it is obvious that the younger generations are taking over. Not that power is being considered to them, because it was a different thing when we had the lives of General Gowon as head of state. That was when somebody was so in my late 20s, in my early 30s, I was holding positions of responsibility. It's almost a struggle, because what we keep getting is a recycling of the same old order that is not willing to give way. Even when it is obvious that all over the world, the old order is something that new order is moving. We want to talk about new world information order, new world technology order, or new world leadership order is something that we see quite strange in Nigeria. Of course, power is not served a la carte. It is for the younger generation themselves to continue to prepare themselves, to continue to push, to continue to be involved. For the integrity must be our watchword. We must be focused. We must be well informed. You want to be the leader, you are already called to be leader. Leadership is about managing people, managing money and resources, managing conflicts and resolutions of safety, managing programs and policies. So every one of us is already called upon. And I was seated in this room today discussing about Nigeria, discussing about ESU, discussing about the future. It's part of the discharge of your leadership responsibility. You need to be more involved. Politics of our state, politics of our country, politics of our immediate environment. You must be involved. This is the secret. Professional politicians don't want people like you in politics. They don't want decent people to want that. And in any country where you have more of professional politicians rather than professional securities, you change the highway to nowhere. And that is part of the problem of Nigeria. We don't want decent people to be involved. And if you stay away from politics, because you keep saying it, that's then there is implication for you. You continue to watch your moral, intellectual, and spiritual inferiors go in and out of government, and they will take decisions that will not only affect you, but affect the future of your children. And that's why everything for the world is involved. But in being involved, and whatever you choose to do, be humble. Allow geography to limit you. Allow age to limit you. I was a member of the cabinet of Lagos State for 11.5 years. I was not born in Lagos. None of my parents came from Lagos. I'm one unassuming young man from Ekiti. And all I knew was just that focus. All I knew was my God. All I knew was relationship. All I knew was integrity. Because there were people who were from this Lagos, origin, who did not even spend up to 3 years in the cabinet because before they were fired. But by the grace of God, every one of us is called for one. It didn't matter where I came from. It also did not matter that I was even the youngest person in that cabinet. It was such a pleasure to serve in the cabinet like that. So that you want to, where you had Dele Alake, you had the Professor Shibajo, you had you had Alekbeshola, you had a Ben Akakwesi, you had a Lai Mohammed. It was a pleasure to be there. And what is most important was the fact that we had a focus. The blueprint was developed. And whoever was going to be governor of Lagos State after Ashiwaju only needed to be focused. There was a blueprint that will make you excel as a governor. And that's why I'm surprised that one of the people that you the government speaker today was Governor Fashola. As chief of staff, he was intelligent. He wasn't a part of our politics. And I'm happy he's listening to this. He was not. He concentrated on his job. He wasn't going to be there at 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. At Bodilon. He would be in the office at 7:30 a.m. While most of us were still sleeping because we were up to 3 a.m., 4 a.m. doing committees. He was focused. And when it was time to talk about succession, actually I had no problem in choosing him as the person that was succeed. He took his best. And again, challenges of leadership will come. Without minding whose house is God. There were people who vowed that he would not even have a second time, like Prof. That's the referred to. One of the students for him, at the end of the day, he was either feel Fashola for second time, or let's say bye-bye. Continuity in Lagos. It became obvious, and he was there. Not himself who started him as an example. Professor Ogunipe had his own challenge as Vice Chancellor in the University of Lagos because he was and is still doing the right thing. And when the storm came, by the grace of God, all of us stood up for him. It didn't matter whether you knew him or not. He had a reputation that preceded him and a legacy on the basis of which everybody to say, no, you can't do this. And it didn't matter how organized, how strong the opposition was, they did not succeed. Here he is standing. We all saw the kind of challenge he was facing during office, even after he had left. Because he stood up for the truth. At the end of the day, the truth availed for him. I just want to encourage everyone to in whatever position of leadership in which you have found yourself, continue to be who you are. Be humble in leadership. Be humble in wealth, even if you are rich. It will not matter. And don't pretend about who you are. I never pretend. A child of his uncle's opinion. Everywhere I went, I made it clear that my own parents don't even have the opportunity of going to school. My father was a tailor. My mother was a sewing mistress. And at the end of the day, God raised all the 8 of us that they gave back to are all university graduates, the 3 lawyers, 2 medical doctors, and everybody with a master's degree. The day my father was being buried, some of you were there. I said, I referred to his casket. I said, here is a man who worked as a tailor and a farmer. What else? What better thing could a tailor have asked for? To have the vice president of the country, Professor Shibajo, the second governor of the state, leading other dignitaries and governors from across the country at his funeral. He could not have asked for anything other than that. If I pretended to be who I was not, if I don't anyway believe as to my background, nobody will celebrate that unity. And as far as I am concerned, the next generation of leaders in this country must continue
to appreciate the fact that leadership is not just about being in government office. In whichever area you are, as captains of industry, in the area of information technology, in the area of administration, you continue to excel. Once you understand the need for you to uphold integrity and to be focused. These are a topic on which we can go on and on, but I know time is of the essence, and I just want to say that again. I'm glad to be here to remember the words of transparent. Every generation, out of this relative obscurity, must identify its mission. And having identified it, either betray it or fulfill it. Being here today and doing what you are doing, it's obvious to me that you have identified your own mission and you are determined to fulfill.
Very much. Before he came in, I was discussing with the president about the personality of the senator. And when the company mentioned that some nice things, so he said some nice things about him, that when he went to his office, he recognized him.
Yeah.
What did I tell you? I said that is typical of MOB. Please keep doing what you're doing. It's someone that when he sees you, he stands up and recognizes you. Yeah. He doesn't, no matter your level. Yeah. I've said it even when you're not here. Please keep doing what you're doing. On that note, on behalf of Ekiti Alumni Association, I hereby decorate you Senator Michael Bakindele, popularly referred to as MOB, the patron, live patron. Let me read. I decorate you, Senator Michael Bakindele, as honorary member and patron of Ekiti.
It's now.
A man diligent in his works, he will stand before kings and not before men. A round of applause one more time.
The senator is now a member, entitled to all privileges.
Yeah.
And all
Right.
I didn't want to take some shots. All privileges and responsibilities. Yes. So we are all right. I guess I'll just place this. You put it to the left.
On behalf of the chairman of the board of trustees, the NEC, and the entire Alumni Association, we hereby present of Michael Bakindele as an honorary member of this great association and a patron of this association. What else can I say? Other than to say that I feel fully about it. I pray that God will honor me.